Sawadee Krap and welcome to another episode here for the Funky Pod, Mindful Media and Communication. And you hear it in my voice, I'm a little less excited. I mean, because, well, mir san mir, but mir san not mir this year so much. It's not that I'm a Bayern fan per se, but I mean, I did hope they would make the final in the Champions League because it would have been awesome to see like a German final and me being German. And those last 2 minutes against Real Madrid, like a few days ago, whew. Nevertheless, that they struggle in the Bundesliga is amazing because usually I'm not a Bayern fan at all. But on international stage, of course, you hope the Germans do well. And I just find it incredibly interesting to just see. So I'm not here to hate on Bayern or anything. I'm not here to like it's so funny. That's not what the podcast is about. The podcast is about like mindful media and communication. And so I'm gonna talk a little bit about Bayern's coaching conundrum right now. Like, why can Bayern Munich, one of the most famous professional football clubs in the world, not find a new coach for the new season? Why can they not find a successor to Thomas Tuchel? We talked about like why Thomas Tuchel's communication style for a little bit like a few months ago when everything like broke down. It was like, I think December-ish or so. But now I don't want to focus on Thomas Tuchel because like it's all done now. They decided that he will leave after the season is over. Now like 2 more games in the Bundesliga as the time, or 1 more game actually, because I'm recording on the day of the game actually. Why is Bayern struggling so much? Is the question. It's a huge club, right? Lots of money, lots of superstars. Why does no one want to take this hot seat? And yeah, let's explore. Let's drill down with like looking at media theories, communication theories, because I think some truth can be found when we analyze the communication style and how the media is being used from a Bayern Munich point of view, different stakeholders within the Bayern Munich universe, if you will, but also from a media point of view, of course. So first thing we have to address is that Thomas Tuchel is leaving at the end of the season, right? It was a very brief and a very turbulent tenure here. Like, and I'm saying this as if I'm in Munich. I'm not even in Germany, but it was a very brief and turbulent like stint in Germany with Bayern for Thomas Tuchel, right? So he had a contract until 2025, I believe, but he's still leaving now, right? Okay. The reason is because they had like lots of poor performances and so on. You can argue all that because actually the points they have in the Bundesliga right now would have been enough to be a champion over the last, I don't know, a decade or whatnot. Like it's just that Leverkusen this season just plays out of their mind. They haven't lost anything, as you're probably aware of. So, okay, but nevertheless, they said, okay, we don't want him anymore. And he's like, okay, all this pressure and all the shit talking from the outside, I don't need this, let's just part ways. Okay, cool. Now, Bayern faces this challenge of finding a new coach. And the question now is, of course, why can they not find one? And of course, there are lots of high-profile candidates out there, right? Like, I mean, they looked at Zidane, I believe, for example. They asked Julian Nagelsmann, who's the current international coach for the Germany team and who was the Bayern coach before Thomas Tuchel came. And now they're like, oh, we want you back. You weren't as bad. But he said, no, not coming back just yet. I stay with the national team. Good on him, by the way. I don't know. I'm lacking on the names right now. But they had a few other names in the media and everyone said no to them. So now it's like, what are we going to do? Now, Erik ten Hag has been rumored, but he just ruined Manchester United, so why would you hire him? And now if you look at it from like, why is this happening? Like, why is everybody saying no to Bayern? I think that's where we can now, you look at like the media and a few media theories to see why is it happening. And like a few theories, like I start with a few basic ones and then maybe I add a few like not so commonly known ones. Okay, so the most well-known media theory, also if you listen to this podcast, is probably what we call agenda setting theory. And so the theory suggests that like everybody that uses media has an agenda. And of course, media outlets that report on Bayern, they have an agenda, of course. Usually, the agenda for a media outlet is generate clicks, views, reads, whatever, to increase ad revenue, right? So if there's like trouble in paradise, that's of course great for media outlets because then more people click, more people read, you make more money. And so right now, the focus on like this coaching crisis at Bayern is perfect for media outlets because it gives you something to discuss each and every week, each and every day, basically, right? So you can talk about like the struggles at Bayern and why no one's taking the job, and you can talk about this all the time. You can highlight like why is it the case, like who's involved in that. There are some players have too much power, for example. Then there's like, and I more on this in a second, but then there's Uli Hoeneß, for example, the honorary president who never shuts up, who always talks about everything and anything and anyone and hates on everything and anyone at any time possible. You've seen like that over the last few years, they dismissed like Hasan Salihamidzic, who was like the sporting director. They kicked out Oliver Kahn after some unsuccessful, it was not even that unsuccessful. They still were like the champion in the Bundesliga, and they still dismissed them. So it's very turbulent. And if you're from the outside, you're watching it, especially last season, right? They didn't dominate the Bundesliga, but they still won. They still won the championship, right? And from the outside, you're looking in, you're like, okay, so they won the Bundesliga, and yet they fired everybody. Why would I go there? And then you see all the media talking trash about it and like putting like the focus on it. Like, look at what's happening here at Bayern again. You're like, why would I do this to myself? If I would do this to myself to expose myself to all the scrutiny and all those things, wouldn't I rather do it in Madrid or at PSG where I probably earn 10 times the money compared to? It's not that you're not earning much at Bayern. I'm sure you do earn a lot. But I'm also sure you earn way more in Madrid or in Paris. Okay. Also, a second theory we discuss a lot here is the spiral of silence theory, right? So this theory posits that people are less likely to express their opinions if they believe that they are in a minority for fear of like isolation or reprisal, okay? So this also could lead to like lots of coaches might wanting to avoid Bayern due to like this perceived public pressure and the risk. Like, because you can only lose if you take over Bayern. If you take on Bayern and you win, it's like, yeah, of course you win. You've got the most money in the Bundesliga. You got the biggest squad. You got the most national team players in the Bundesliga. You got the most expensive players in the Bundesliga. Of course you're winning. If you're not winning, like this season, and again, I said one more time, not because you're bad, just because another team plays out of their freaking mind, it's like, why are you not winning? You got Harry Kane for 100 million. You should be winning. Why are you not winning? What's wrong with you? So the scrutiny is just like always there. So why would I do it? Right? I think that's a very, very, very big part that there's just no appreciation for a coach. It's like this attitude that's been like this mantra for Bayern Munich. They call it in German, right? Mir san mir. It means like we are we. So how it's translated? We are ourselves. Like we know who we are. Like we are too good. We're better than everybody else, right? That's what it implies. And showing also that the coach doesn't really matter unless they're not winning. Then it's the coach. And back to like what I said earlier, like there's this huge dark cloud over everything Bayern is doing is Uli Hoeneß. Okay, he's the, I think now the honorary president, I think is what you call it. He's like this voice that's just never quiet. I mean, and he brought lots of success to Bayern. He basically is one of the main reasons why Bayern is what Bayern is, why they're so successful. Okay, so don't take anything away from him, but he's old now and shouldn't be involved in daily business anymore. But it's just very vocal in the media. So he criticizes everybody all the time. Even before the last match against Real Madrid, he was hating on Thomas Tuchel. And you're like, I understand you don't like him, but you have a very good chance to go to the final of the Champions League. Why would you hate on him and the team right now, days before the semifinal? Why? So this constant shadow of like him feeling the need to say something and to always criticize everybody all the time. I think that's a big reason as to why also coaches don't want to go there, especially German-speaking coaches who probably are more aware of what's happening with Uli Hoeneß. I'm not sure if international coaches are that aware of like what he's doing all the time in the media, but German-speaking coaches, they're definitely aware of it. Ralf Rangnick, another one, the current Austrian national team coach who does great work with Team Austria. He also said no to Bayern. And I mean, he's German, so he's German-speaking, so he definitely knows what's happening. And he's like, no, I don't need that drama, which is smart, right? So another reason why lots of coaches are choosing not to come to Bayern is like this communication dilemma. Because of course you can't tell Uli Hoeneß to just shut up and leave because he was so integral to success for Bayern, but you would want him to be less vocal. If he has a problem, do it internally. He got the number of everybody probably in the club, so he could talk to anyone, but he chooses to do this like in public because he's getting paid for it, of course. But yeah, so this communication process should be more streamlined, should be smoother. The communication within the club should be smoother and should be not as public as it always is with Bayern Munich. Yeah, Bayern Munich, in Bayern, it always seems like everybody is like communicating not internally, they're all communicating externally, be it like the president, the honorary president, be it like the sporting director. But with the new sporting director, Max Eberl, maybe things are getting better. Be it the players. Yeah, the players are also very often communicating publicly rather than internally. So that's, I think, is a big problem, the way people, stakeholders within the organization communicate. If you need some help there, Bayern, reach out. I'm happy to offer you a special Bavarian discount since I'm also from Bavaria. I still don't like you, but you're still not my club. But I would be willing to help you just because it's been really sad to see the past few years. So I'm willing to help you again, Bayern Munich. Reach out to me. Or I'm sure I'll see your job post, your job advertisement for looking for a coach on LinkedIn rather soon. So maybe I'll just shoot you a message there. If you look at like the long-term implications for Bayern Munich, right? I'm a bit worried. And again, I'm not a Bayern fan. If I would have to pick a club, it would be my hometown, which would be like Würzburger Kickers, but they're like in the 4th division now, and they're not even in professional football right now. I believe they had as a brief stint in the 2nd Bundesliga for a year or so, but then it's been downhill again since. I went to Nuremberg matches like as a kid a few times, so I'm a bit like I have like a bit of a soft spot, like a small soft spot, not too involved, but a small soft spot for the club. But other than that, I'm not a big Bayern fan. But I cannot look at it. Also from a professional point of view, I have to look at it and be like, what is happening there? And if you look at like long-term implications for Bayern, right? With this coaching instability at the center, but also all the communication problems there. So I think that just also affects the strategic planning. Because while you have a sporting director in Max Eberl, which is like very well known in Germany, but also I think on a global stage as a sporting director, and he did great work for Borussia Mönchengladbach before and for RB Leipzig, like finding the right fits, the right players and so on. And it should be easier for Bayern because he's got more money now. But if you don't have a coach, you don't have a system, how are you going to find the right players? And of course, their squad should be good enough right now. So yeah, understand, but the coach is an important part for like the playing system, playing style of a club, for the identity of a club. And if you have an identity, then it's much easier to convince more players, more personnel, whatever, to join you. And if you don't have that, like we don't know who our coach is going to be next season, but do you want to come and join? Or even like just extending contracts, like, hey, your contract's going to expire, but we want you here, but we don't know who's your coach going to be, so you're going to stay? And that can't be beneficial for the long-term planning, for the strategic planning of Bayern Munich. So, and also players seeing how much they struggle. Like, I'm at the biggest club in Germany and a world-renowned club. And they can't get a coach to coach us. there must be something wrong with the system, with the organization. So maybe I, as a player, should also look somewhere else. Maybe somewhere else is more professional. And so I think that struggle right now is actually really affecting the long-term strategic planning of Bayern Munich from my point of view. And it all comes down to communication. So communication really matters. That's why we teach this at university. To also throw a few theories at you, because that's what I always do, right? Towards the end, a few theories that are at play here. One is, of course, the framing theory. We discussed it many times. It's like the way the media chooses to present information, which can, of course, influence. When I talk about German stuff, I switch to German mode sometimes. Not that influence would be a German word, but just sometimes my head goes into German mode. So framing theory, one more time. The media chooses how to present information that then influences how it is perceived. There you go. So different media frames, such as portraying the coaching search as a sign of a crisis. Yeah, that's what most media outlets choose right now. It's oh, look at the crisis at Bayern. First cup-less season in 12 years, since 2012, I believe. The first time they didn't win anything, no cup, no league, no nothing. Thanks, Harry Kane. So that's a frame that lots of media outlets use. Others, if you wanted to have a more positive frame, a more positive spin, you could be hey, now is the chance for opportunities. First time they were cup-less, trophy-less in over a decade. The coach who comes in now can make a big change. We changed the playing style. We changed the identity. We changed everything about Bayern. This could be seen as an opportunity. No one's doing that because everyone's used to winning and we want to win now and not in 5 years. Understand? But if you want to be more positive, you could try to frame it in a more positive way. And that could be something that also internal stakeholders or stakeholders close to Bayern should be doing. Uli Hoeneß should not be everyone sucks. Uli Hoeneß should be yeah, not happy right now, but that's a big opportunity. We're going to reinvent ourselves and we're going to come back stronger next year, better. We will have better organization, and so on. Okay? That's the frame that you can put on different sources, if you will. Okay? So framing theory. I have two more. The cultivation theory, we talked about this many times too. This suggests that long-term exposure to media shapes how audience perceives social reality, right? We know that already. So in this case, this continuous negative media portrayal could influence the perception of Bayern Munich, right? It's always problems, not winning, getting Harry Kane, not winning anything, problem. No coaches, more problems. So the perception of the audience in Germany, but also internationally, is oh, see how Bayern struggles the whole time. Maybe they're not this great of a club as they used to be. And so that's the cultivation theory. And the last one that I'm going to throw at you in this case, one that we also discussed many times before, but it also fits very well, because it's also one reason why I consume all the Bayern content, even though I'm not a Bayern Munich fan. The use and gratification theory. You know it already, right? You could probably tell me what it means, which is great because I mentioned a lot on this podcast just because it's so important when it comes to our media consumption. Okay, so you know that the use and gratification theory looks at how individuals use media to fulfill specific needs or desires. Yeah. In this case, different stakeholders like fans, club management, potential coaches, they engage with media narratives to serve their own purposes, right? You seek validation for how you view it already. You try to get more information if you're a potential coach on the club culture and so on. And if you see then all those negative reports from the media, as a fan, you're oh yeah, that kind of sucks. As a coach, you're I'm not going there. As a stakeholder, as a management member, maybe you're oh yeah, if they all hate us, something's wrong. We need to change. Then you're Uli Hoeneß and you're getting mad in the media, right? So there you go. Use and gratification. You use the media for what you're longing for, and in this case, either if you're like me from the outside, it's longing for drama and entertainment. But if you're closer to Bayern, you're looking for more information, for more validation of your own thoughts, maybe even. And then this could actually lead to this spiraling into more negative content, more negative feelings, more negative forms of communication, which in return affects everything that's happening at Bayern Munich right now. Okay. I'm going to wrap things up right now because, like I said, I'm not the biggest Bayern Munich fan, but now I talked about Bayern for 20 minutes just because it's so interesting to see that this is happening at the biggest club in Germany, one of the biggest clubs in the world. And the takeaway is, you all suck at communication. So reach out to me. Find me on my LinkedIn or on my website. Reach out to me. I will fix your communication issues. Bayern Munich, I will fix you. Let me know what you think about Bayern's struggles right now. Are there other clubs that struggle in a similar way? Do you remember any club struggling like this and then turning it around, or maybe then like actually collapsing? I'm not saying Bayern's going to collapse, but I'm just curious, like if you have any other examples similar to what Bayern is experiencing right now. Could be in football/soccer, because I realize I have some American listeners. I appreciate you guys, but it's called football. Or maybe like even in basketball or wherever. Let me know if you found some similarities to other teams. That would be very interesting to see. Until then, as always, please do like, share, subscribe, leave a review on your podcast app. That really, 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 really helps the most to reach a wider audience. It's very much appreciated. Until then, stay safe, take care, cheer for your team, and we talk soon. Sawadee Cup.